Alright, today I want to talk about diminished chords. Specifically, I want to talk about how cool fully diminished seventh chords are. First, we have to understand how diminished chords are constructed. There's a few different diminished chords we usually come across, and the most basic is just the diminished triad. A diminished triad is just the root, the minor third, and the diminished fifth. You could think of it like a minor chord with the lowered fifth. It sounds like this. So then we have two main types of diminished seventh chord. There's a half diminished and a fully diminished. A half diminished seventh chord is just a diminished chord with a minor seventh on top. In jazz, they usually call this a minor 7 flat 5. A fully diminished seventh chord is the same thing as a half diminished, except the minor seventh that's added is lowered a half step to be a diminished seventh. And they sound different. A fully diminished seventh chord sounds like you're tied to the railroad tracks about to get hit by a train. Whereas a half diminished seventh chord sounds like you're sitting on the railroad tracks playing jazz. So the really cool thing about fully diminished chords is they are uninvertible. Most chords take on a different quality if you place a note other than the root in the bass. But you can't do this with fully diminished chords because the interval between every pair of notes in the stack is a minor third. It doesn't matter how you rearrange it, you're always going to have stacked minor thirds. This is what's called a symmetrical harmony, and it's what lets you do things like this. You can take a fully diminished chord shape and just move it around the neck 3 frets at a time, or a minor third at a time, and you're basically just shifting the same chord all over the place. And it sounds cool. And also because of the symmetrical nature of it, we can consider any of those 4 notes the root, so the chord can be resolved in 4 different directions. So if we call E flat, or D sharp, the root, the chord will want to resolve to E. If we call A the root, then the chord will resolve to B flat. If we call C the root, then the chord resolves to D flat. And if we call G flat or F sharp the root, then it will resolve to G. All 4 of those sound equally convincing, right? You can do a similar thing where you take your fully diminished chord and lower one of the notes in it by a half step. You've now turned your fully diminished seventh chord into a 5/7 chord, which you would just resolve normally. So if we take the same chord and we lower E flat to D, we end up with a D7 chord, which wants to resolve to G. If we lower the A to A flat, then we get an A flat 7 chord, which wants to go to D flat. Lower the C to B, then we get B7, which goes to E. Lower G flat to F, and then we get F7, which wants to go to B flat. Super cool. So what can you do with this information? Why is this even important? Why should you care? Probably the main thing is you can use it to get really inventive with key changes in songwriting and composing. You can go to really unexpected places if you feel that the song needs it. Hopefully that gives you an idea. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you some other time.